Talán emlékeznek még arra, hogy tavaly ősszel
You may remember that last fall, our 200,000 confidants' data was leaked to Ukraine, because that was also done by the Ukrainians to TISA. You may remember when the representatives of TISA went to the European Parliament in Ukrainian T-shirts, and you may remember when Volodymyr Zelensky closed the oil pipeline due to political reasons. He did this to cause chaos in Hungary, to cause an energy crisis, and to help TISA's chances of election. Let me remind you that TISA's program is to get rid of the cheap Russian oil. Zelensky only did it. Zelensky did it, TISA promised. Zelensky did it. But every Hungarian feels and would feel on his skin what this means. He doesn't feel it, because the government decided on the cost of protection. But here is in front of our eyes the infiltration of Ukraine. Here is in front of our eyes the program of TISA. Here is what would happen if Hungary didn't have a national government. Even now, the national government needs to protect Hungarians and the TISA people from all the consequences. We dare to say that TISA and Ukraine are in your pockets because what is in your pockets needs to go to Ukraine. It needs to go to the war, it needs to go to the operation of the Ukrainian state. That's why Ukraine is interested in a Ukrainian-friendly government in Hungary. This is what we can't leave, and this is why we came to you tonight. Honorable members of Parliament, first of all, there was money for all of this, because we didn't let them take our money to Ukraine. In Western Europe, everything I just mentioned is not there, because they let them take their money to Ukraine. I say the numbers. First they gave 200 billion euros, now 90 billion. Then there is a new $800 billion aid and a $700 billion arms program for Ukraine. One forint can only be spent once, either for this or for that. If you give it to someone else, you won't get it from yourself. That's why we were able to do all of this, despite the difficult years of war in the last 4 decades, because we always said no. I said no to the Hungarians taking their money to Ukraine. We made it clear that this war is not our war, neither arms nor money nor Hungarian youth. We won't send them to that war. It's important that we count here with our own conscience. Then Hungary, without any restrictions, let them in. All of them. We gave them shelter, we gave them food. We gave them work. And I ordered to create schools where their children can learn Ukrainian in their mother tongue here in Hungary. We did all of this, despite the fact that they, the Hungarians living in Ukraine, deny the possibility of a Hungarian language school. So I can tell you that we did everything for the Ukrainians in trouble, which a Christian state, a Christian community must do. I can say with confidence that we stand before the new color, at least in this regard. But no one can ask us to help them while we put ourselves in their shoes. I just came from Brussels, dear Centendra people. How much better is the society? It was a difficult day. It was a difficult day. Although I already got used to it at home, although I have 5 children and 1 wife, that sometimes you have to fight in 1 to 6. But yesterday the situation was much worse. I fought in 1 to 25. After all, everyone wanted to convince us to stand in line. Let's stand in line and support the war, support Ukraine, give our money there, and let's not get hurt by the oil blockade. We Hungarians like to speak clearly. That's what I did yesterday. If there is an oil blockade in Ukraine, then there will be a Hungarian creditor. If there is no oil, there is no money. If there is oil, there will be money. Ladies and gentlemen, ordering an oil blockade against a country, as Zelensky did, is a major crime. At a time when the whole world, just because of the Middle East war, everything is at the top of the energy market, a double crime. I understand the Ukrainians, but I cannot accept their position. They would like as many countries as possible to join them in the war. This is their interest, but this is not our interest. Therefore, no matter how many European Union leaders follow, as long as Zelensky does not give us what is ours, as long as he does not allow our already paid oil in the Ukrainian territory, we will not and will not support any decision that serves the interests of Ukraine in Brussels. We will not and will not support any decision, ladies and gentlemen. Why did the President of Ukraine do this? Let us not have illusions. The plan was to destabilize the Hungarian economy. If there is no oil, more than 1,000 will go to gasoline. There will be economic chaos, and then the choice may come. This leadership has been injured 23 times now. 22 times there was no obstacle to put it in place. Now, a month before the election, it did not succeed on the 23rd. And they will not, because if they pay attention, the President of Ukraine will choose a month and a half later, after the election. What is their hope? Their hope is that the Hungarians will elect a Ukrainian-friendly government in Hungary, and then the leadership of friendship must never be opened again. Every Hungarian must know this. Either we stand up for ourselves and elect a national government, and we get back what is ours, or it will be a Ukrainian-friendly government, and no more low-cost Russian energy will reach Hungary. And with this, it will also be a reductionist system. This is the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Brussels is in this matter cynical. In fact, together with the Hungarian opposition, they are playing with the Ukrainians. A sane Hungarian does not want a war. But the question is not whether he wants it or not. The question is whether he has the strength, the ability, and the courage to stay out. And we had more and more great leaders in our country, and they still did not succeed. Let me remind you that we wanted to stay out of the First World War in vain. István Tisza wanted to stay out in vain, and in the end, they just dragged us into the war, and we lost 2/3 of the country.
Belesodortak bennünket a háborúba, és elvesztettük az ország 2/3-át.